Hey guys, welcome back to the Behind the Plate podcast brought to you by 1IQ Sports. I'm Will. This is DJ. And it's playoff time. We have finished the wild card series. We are 3 games into the league division series, respectively, on the National League and American League side. So we've seen about 5 to 6 games for teams, 3 for others, 2 for others. And just, it's kind of been interesting. There's a few storylines. The richest team in baseball is the softest team in baseball. So we like that. The Tigers are only gritty when Tariq Skubbal's on the mound. It's Skubal in a dream for them. The Mets did some witch draft, like magic bullshit with Grimace, because it's just Grimace and vibes, and it works, and it pisses me off. The Phillies' offense is anemic. They're dead. I declare that series over, is my early proclamation. And then Padres-Dodgers has been blockbuster. I want this to be a 15-game series, but I feel like at the end it's just going to be one team owning the other.
Yeah.
Cleveland-Detroit, we kind of touched on that. It's literally just Skubal and that. Kind of a bit of a boring one. And then the Yankees-Royals is apparently just lucky for the Royals, according to Jazz Chisholm, despite being out at second base and getting ruled safe and scoring the winning run in Game 1.
Yeah. I mean, I think you covered mainly everything that's been going on. Well, I mean, not in depth, but where do you want to start? I mean, there's so much shit.
I think I kind of just want to go, like, I want to rip the Dodger-Padre one, but it's, like, the most interesting one, so I'm going to save it. Let's rip, in my opinion, the most boring series so far, and that's Cleveland-Detroit. And no offense to either of those teams, it's just they don't do anything well at the same time. It's either one team.
Exciting.
Yeah. Like in Game 1, Cleveland pitched really well and hit really well at the same time, and Detroit did the opposite. And then Game 2, Detroit and Cleveland both pitched really well at the same time, but they both didn't hit at the same time until Clase threw 8 fucking sliders in a row for some reason, which was stupid. It's just, it's not a great series. The stars, in a sense, aren't really coming out to play offensively. Pitching-wise, Skubal balled out, dominated, Cy Young by a mile. Dude's just it. He's the MLB Cy Young, if there was an award.
Yeah.
Lane Thomas balled out in Game 1. We like that. Other than that, like, Jose Ramirez has been underwhelming. And then, like, Andres Jimenez, it's Nailers aren't doing much. Like, the offense was Lane Thomas, it felt like. Although, like, it was kind of everyone, but, like, it felt like it was Lane Thomas.
Yeah.
And then
it reminded me that Lane Thomas was picked up earlier in the year, because I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of forget about something like that. Cleveland just doesn't get many eyes on them, I feel like. So
I forgot about him because, like, he was also barely hitting a wet paper bag in Cleveland. Like, he was hitting, like, 101. Like, he was not doing anything. Obviously, that's exaggerated numbers, but, like, he was not great in Cleveland. So I kind of forgot he was there until he sent a ball 1,000 feet from the plate. And then I was like, oh, that's Lane Thomas. So there was that. Stephen Kwan wasn't doing much to near the end of the year. He's kind of picked it up. He didn't catch that ball, by the way, in Game 2. I don't know if you saw that play. He didn't catch that ball. I don't care what anyone says. I don't think he caught it. I think it bounced.
I need to look at it again.
I'm convinced it goes, like, ground glove almost at, like, it's like 1 billionth of a second. It's so quick, but, like, I swear how I see it is, like, I see grass, and I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, but I see grass.
I mean, I guess we'll never know. Doesn't matter anymore.
No, it doesn't, because they lost.
I think
that
series the MLB doesn't do a good job covering it. I think they have
And
a really
they
hard
gave
time
them all
covering it
day
because,
games.
yeah, exactly. I blame the MLB because other than Screwball, when he was pitching, you get all these alerts and they're posting so much. Other than that, like, they don't really cover it when, like, you see the Dodgers and Padres or the Phillies playing. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
on my alert. Everything is picked up. Like, my Twitter's going crazy. When they're playing, it's just like, I feel like they do a horrible job. And it is because of the time slot, but I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah,
Like,
they don't want to
obviously, you're not
overlap
going to.
the games, but like
Yeah.
it like
I don't know.
I feel
They
like
buried the series.
Cleveland and Detroit have a hard enough time bringing in national viewers as it is, and then to
Yeah.
slot them at like 1 o'clock on a weekday is like that's
Criminal.
diabolical. Yeah, like in
Right.
2017 when Cleveland was on top of everything, fresh off a World Series appearance, won 22 games in a row. They were primetime national television. Everyone wanted to watch the Cleveland. Yeah, like everyone wanted to watch Cleveland. And when I think of Cleveland, I think of Lindor with a drive in game 1 for that grand slam. It was just they've been sewered.
Right. And I feel like this is a very superstar driven league now.
Yeah.
I think that's happens a lot in sports, but Jose Ramirez is doing really bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the first time he's done really bad. And I think I said that in my prediction. It's probably the only thing I've gotten semi right is like, I don't know, something about Cleveland. They just don't
They
usually
don't ball
perform.
up.
I mean, yeah,
The
I don't know. They
pitching's
get
there,
really
but
boring
like
and yeah.
I just think it's because like they're a team that doesn't hit home runs in a sense. Like they kill you with
Mhm.
10 billion paper cuts, but like they don't get that sword and like put it through your heart. They like cut
And
their
that
way
matters.
there. Yeah. As much as
Yeah,
Ross Atkins thinks home runs don't win you playoff games, I have a reason to believe that that's not true thanks to a couple of teams in the National League.
think the biggest thing in October for me is momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And momentum, there's no better thing for momentum than a home run. Like look at the Mets even still being alive in the
Yeah.
playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Like one swing of the bat, Pete Alonso. We were just talking shit about him and how he had no value, and then he goes and fucking wins the series.
Yeah. It's just
So
in the playoffs, it's so hard to string together 3, 4, 5 hits off of someone that like
yeah,
that's just Cleveland's style. And I think that's like their main issue right now is like they nuke. Like they ball out sometimes, like like Josh Naylor balls and J Ram can ball and Lane Thomas can
right.
ball. But they're just not doing it. And it just doesn't make
Oh,
sense. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Detroit does at home now that they don't have Tariq
hey,
Skubal, because now it's just pitching chaos and a dream.
which they have good pitching. I'll give. I don't want to like say
They
anything
don't
bad about
have
Detroit. They have good pitching.
they don't have great starters from what I can recall off the top of my head outside of Tariq Skubal. I could be missing a couple, but like in my mind, it's like Tariq Skubal,
I think
and then it's kind of like fucking throw shit at a wall and hope it sticks.
I think based on what I've heard is down the stretch when they went on the miracle run, they were like dominating. The pitching was dominating
Yeah.
everyone.
No, like their
So
bullpen rocks. That Reese Olson kid who pitched game 1 was
yeah.
fantastic. Like he killed what any momentum Cleveland had for the longest time. Like he's a good one down the
Mhm.
road if Detroit somehow advances. But it's like,
Yeah, they need offense though. They got no offense. Really,
yeah,
they have what's this called? Was it Carpenter that hit the 3 rounder?
Gary Carpenter hit the home run. Parker Meadows is all right. Riley Green seems legit, but
Carpenter's just
yeah.
him.
Spencer
in that
Torkelson's
lineup.
so disappointing, man.
Yeah,
So disappointing.
yeah, I know. But yeah, I think that basically covers it. It's a tight series.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Cleveland take it, but I don't know. I'm not impressed.
No. I think Cleveland, the only way Cleveland doesn't win this series now is like if their offense just
Detroit.
doesn't do anything. Like if their offense doesn't, like if their offense only scores one run the rest of the way, like they don't win. It's just like in my mind, going against Cleveland's pitching for the rest of the way, like I assume Scooball will pitch game 5.
Yeah.
Would be my guess, but it's like, dude, Betty, if there's a game 5, like Detroit's got to win one at home.
Scuba will be pitching in before the season's over or before their season's over. He'll be in the game before their season's over. I don't care if it's 6th inning, 7th inning, he's coming in.
He could go on a 2014 Madison Bumgarner run. Is like if Detroit manages to go, Tariq Skubal is just that guy. Is like the reason why. There's no one else there. Sorry, Detroit.
But it will be interesting to see. I think home. I want to say home ice, but home field advantage. What that does, how Detroit's going to look, because like I said, momentum's everything, and being at home could propel their offense to do something. We haven't seen it much, but like I feel like it's going to be pretty crazy in Detroit, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope so. The last thing I want to say on that is that Jake Rogers, by far the best mustache this league has ever seen. That man looks like a 1980s ball player, like whether it's in a movie or actually in the league. Like he just rocks. So shout out Jake Rogers.
Shout out. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, no, every time I see him, I'm like, that dude, like he looks like he should be catching Billy Chappell in For Love of the Game. So
Ooh, good movie.
Great movie. And it's the Tigers too, so like the connection, it works. Anyways, moving on. I just want to get through the American League. It's so boring. I think it's because we are American League team fans. So
yeah,
there's that. But it's just the superstardom isn't there as much in the American League as it is in the National League, mostly due to the fact that Baltimore couldn't hit a fucking lick. So, great job, Baltimore.
I also blame it on New York superstars falling asleep in the playoffs. I mean, so far, Aaron Judge would be all over my timeline if he was doing something, but since he's doing nothing, they're not going to talk about it because, like, he's supposed to be this, out of this world player, but when the lights are bright, does he get too tired?
You know that Donald Trump, you're like, no, turn him off. That's Aaron Judge right now. I will say, I think I said this in the pod already, but like, the Royals aren't lucky. Jazz Chisholm, they flat out won. Like they outpitched New York. They outhit New York. They just, in my opinion, this series could easily be 2-0 Kansas City, and we're looking back at a sweep here in Game 3. We're not now.
Yeah.
But like Garrett Cole sucked. Like, dude, Garrett Cole on the mound is like, oh, what's that smell? Terrible. Aaron Judge in the batter's box. I've seen this video fucking 8 times now. Every time Aaron Judge comes up to bat, it's the same one. Johnny from Gate 14?
It sounds familiar.
So he posts this video of a dog pissing on
the
floor.
Yes.
It's like squirt, squirt, squirt. It's like Aaron Judge in the playoffs. That is a perfect representation.
Yeah. I don't know them by names, but I know like what they look like.
Yeah. So
Gate 14, I follow them and shit. But
Gate 14's sick. But yeah, so it's just, I don't know. New York and Kansas City, Game 1 was entertaining. TBS muted the fans, which I thought was bullshit. Like, that completely ruined the viewing experience. Bob Costas sucks, by the way. So boring. Like, you can tell he's cheering for the Yankees, first of all. Giancarlo grounds into a double play to end the game, I think. Or maybe not Giancarlo, but I know he had a double play. And he was like, and that's a double play. And the Royals will win the game and tie the series at 1. And it's like, wow, Bob, try and sound a little less excited. Please. Really try and sound like you were depressed by that outcome.
They're just super biased in certain companies. I don't know. It ruins the experience for the fan.
Yeah.
Especially in October. You have to get certain guys that just make it 10 times better.
I haven't fully been watching this series. This is the one series I know the least amount about. I will say that. Juan Soto, killing it from what I've seen for the most part. Jazz has been fitty. Verdugo was the hero in game 1. Carlos Rodon celebrated and then promptly shit on the mound right afterwards. Bobby Witt doesn't, I haven't seen anything Bobby Witt at all. But, that's also because he's a Kansas City Royals player.
Yeah, he made a great defensive play.
Yeah, but, I haven't
he
seen
carried them through the
offensively.
wild card.
Yeah,
he carried them through the wild card, but not this series so far.
Sal Perez with the nuke in game 2. Michael Garcia 4-hit game, insane. That was nuts. Vinny Pasquantino is there. I can vividly remember more of Vinny Pasquantino at bats than I can Bobby Witt Jr. at bats right now, which isn't great.
He's done nothing in this series offensively.
Cole Reagan's only went 4 innings. I thought that was an interesting choice. I thought he could go at least 5, but whatever. Maybe they want to use him later on, again, Mad Bum style. I was thinking. If it's game 4 for their lives at Kauffman, they're probably going to run him for 4 innings. Something like that. Yeah. Overall, it's a lot closer of a series than I think anyone wants to admit. I don't think Yankee players or fans can feel comfortable going to Kauffman tied at 1 because that could easily just be the end. The Royals could just walk on into the field, realize that, hey, this is our place, and just rip it. And Bobby Witt could come alive. That Kansas City fan base is elite. Those guys rock it in the playoffs as long as that ginger fuck who stole a home run isn't there. They're fun to cheer for in a sense. Seth Lugo rocks. Michael Lorenzen fucks. Cole Reagan rocks. They're all there. And I think it could come together in Kansas City because, it's Luis Gil. They left Stroman off the playoff roster. Who's their starter in game 4? You can't rip Cole again. DJ.
Finally. Holy, the whole time it was... Hello. Are you back? Thank you.
I haven't left. You left.
Yeah. I'm back, I guess.
I basically just ripped through the Royals Yankees if you want to.
Okay, I just know you're recording, so I just need to make sure they're going to hear me properly.
Yeah, you're good.
I think people forget how much Aaron Judge carries this team when they're doing badly, and I think they're on a downswing right now, and he doesn't perform in the playoffs. So that does not bode well for a team that needs someone like Aaron Judge when he gives them 60 home runs a year and drives in 140 runs or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. And he's absent. He's gone. They're gone. Whether it's to the Royals or to Cleveland next round, they're gone. They're shit. They're hard to watch. And quite frankly, they just aren't a good team.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I see a lot of people trying to defend Aaron Judge, saying hitting isn't easy. We all know that. But you know what the greats can do? Hit when it matters. The great players, the players that you remember, hit when the time matters. Derek Jeter was Mr. October for a fucking reason. Not because he hit 110 and squibbled one out every 30 at-bats, because he hit. Alex Rodriguez hit. Yeah. Bautista hit. Altuve hits when it matters. Bregman, Alvarez, Pujols, all the greats hit when it matters. And Aaron Judge isn't doing that. I think he's got a sub 650 OPS since the 2020 playoffs. Starting in the 2020 playoffs. Like he's easily carried by like his 2017 and 2019 playoff runs. His numbers ain't good. So
Very. No, and it's like you could say hitting's hard, but for a guy that has quite frankly dominated the league and is not like he's by far the best player in the world in the regular season offensively, to like not even to have like one home run yet or like, a few singles, he's gone like off the score sheet completely. You can't go from being a 10 out of 10 player to a 2 out of 10 player in the playoffs. I don't care how hard pitching is. They get better in October. If you get worse, you will get exposed, and he's getting exposed.
Yeah, like he's 1 for 7 with like 2 walks. So like at least he's not like completely like at least he's getting on. But it's not like Aaron Judge is gonna go steal you 2 bases. Like if he's at first base, he's a sitting duck. Someone else has to move him over. Like so, I don't know. If the Yankees lose Game 3,
exactly.
they're dead.
They're not going to pitch to him if they know the rest of the lineup isn't going to do anything. And Soto, he could keep doing amazing, but I mean, he's not the home run hitter as much as Judge is. He can hit them out, but I mean, so far it's singles and doubles, and it's just like if you can't win in Yankee Stadium, I don't know if they win on the road.
I think if you left it down to chance late in the game, you're up by 3 runs, and it's a Judge, Soto, and then or Soto, Judge, Stanton, or whatever the hell it is. I'm just walking Soto. I'm telling Soto, don't even come to the plate. Go to first base. There's no point. You're 3 for 4. You're hitting 900 in the playoffs. Get to first base. I'll take my chances with Judge right now because it feels like Judge is just swinging spaghetti. So
it feels like he's nervous. And I'm not even biased. It's not even just because I hate the Yankees. It's just like, I don't know. Like you said, I think big time players perform, and there's a lot of pressure on him, and I can see it. So maybe he shuts me up, but
I hope not.
So far, I think the Royals completely upset.
I would agree. And by the way, if the Yankees lose, first of all, biggest choke job. Second of all, you're a fraud franchise. Third of all, Soto leaves you. We're gonna rock up. I'm checking on Bueller. No fucking strikeouts yet. Are you goddamn kidding me?
Oh, I'm watching. Yeah, no, I'm watching. He's got to two strike counts, and he just keeps on pitching to contact.
God damn it. Next one up is the second most exciting playoff series. And we knew this was going to be the second most exciting one, but this is Mets-Phillies. The Mets almost didn't get here. They almost blew it to Milwaukee. I say blew it as if Milwaukee wasn't the better team. But, like, here we are, Grimace and a dream, and they walk into Philly. They steal the game late in Game 1 with... Yeah, was that like, did I spoil Game 1 of the NLDS for you?
No. No, it was a 2-2 count, and Manny Machado reached for one, so you didn't get a strikeout.
Yeah, sorry. So they rock in, they steal the first game, they score 3 runs in, I think it was the 8th inning, and the Phillies are left going, what the hell just happened? They walk into Game 2, Luis Severino dealing. Mets are up 3-0. And then all of a sudden, bam, Harper, bam, Castellanos. You're like, oh my God, here come the Phillies. And then Nimmo hits a home run. You're like, what the hell's going on? And then Bryson Stott rips a bases clearing a triple for like 2 runs, 3 runs,
on his birthday.
On his birthday off Edwin Diaz. Stupid decision to leave him in the game, by the way. Horrible decision. I've watched a lot of Mets games. Carlos Mendoza, I think he's like one of the best managers in the league. I love the way he manages. It's so old school. You should not have left in Edwin Diaz.
He called him in at the right time.
Left him in was... Oof. And then, we're sitting 6-4.
But I think they expect... Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, it cut out, so I probably cut you off.
No, I just started talking, so go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, but they obviously expect him to be that guy that could come in and get 2 innings in the postseason. So
Yeah.
I get why they kept him in. Obviously, it's shaky, but I think the Mets expect him to go. Usually come in the eighth if they need him, and then pitch the eighth and ninth. So I think they were trying to stretch him out a little too greedy, and they paid for it.
He also had pitched like what was it, like 120 to 150 pitches in the last like 10 days. So like that was intriguing. Mets are in a good spot that he got 2 days of rest now though. And then, but yeah, Bryson Stott rips his triple. It's 6-4, and you're like, okay, that's it. And then Mark Vientos hits one at his eyes, and you're like, okay. And then Castellanos walks it off after saying, fuck these people. And here we are. That series was tied at 1 until today when the Mets laid ass kicking on Philly. They beat them up and down Queens. They took them to the Bronx, threw them all over Yankee Stadium. They took them to Manhattan, punched them through the Empire State Building, and brought their ass back to Queens, jumping around on the subway with Grimace. And the Phillies their offense looks dead. Harper, quiet. Castellanos, for the most part, besides game 2, quiet. Who else was quiet? Bryson Stott was quiet. Alec Boehm has been anemic, cold,
Their whole
frozen.
lineup.
Whole lineup's gone. Edmundo Sosa had quite possibly the worst at bat I've watched in the playoffs. He swung at a ball that hit him in the foot and then swung at a ball that never left the left-handed batter's box. And you can't say that it looked like a strike out of his hand because Francisco Alvarez lined up in the other batter's box. It was never meant to even get close to the strike zone. It was a horrible at bat.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Phillies just got shit on. The Mets laid it on them. That series is over. It doesn't go 5. It's over.
I got a few things to say about that. Being a Blue Jays fan, I know this firsthand. I think certain teams. Oh, you're back. Okay. I think certain teams die after high expectations. Expectations hurt certain teams. The Blue Jays and now the Phillies. The Phillies didn't have that high expectation like kind of thing going on last year, and they played like fucking the best team in the MLB. Everyone expects, or mostly everyone expects them to come out of the NL, and they just haven't played good. But on the other side of that, I will say this Mets team feels different because like there's been numerous times they're down in a game in the wild card series and it's carried over. Even when they lost game 2, they just don't give up. It feels different.
Yeah.
Like years past, they give up and they feel like a bad team in the postseason. This team seems like the worst. Like out of the 2 teams, they seem like the worst team. But they just have the fight and the grit that I think will get them through this series. And our brackets are going to be totally wrong, but I don't even care anymore.
Nope.
I gave up on that like after the first fucking wild card.
That's why Grimace in a Dream is exactly how I would describe 99% of Mets games. And I don't mean this as like disrespectfully, but like the first 7 innings of a game, you grimace in pain because the Mets are like, what the fuck are you doing? You're down already. How is this happening? And then it's a dream because they hit 8 home runs in the 8th inning and they win 15-2. And it's like, what happened? And this game 3, was the opposite. It was just dream. There was no Grimace. Grimace was in the stands.
Well, they're bringing good baseball back to New York.
They're the best team in New York. They're the best team in New York. And yeah, that if there's any proclamation I can make on any series is that the Mets kill the Phillies tomorrow in Citi Field. We do not see a game 5. The Phillies are dead. And that will mean that each year since the Phillies made the playoffs starting in 22, they have gotten worse and worse. World Series loss, NLCS exit, NLDS exit. Next year it's a wild card exit, and then it's no playoffs.
Wow. I don't know if I'm ready to give up on them yet. I'm going to watch the game tomorrow.
I'm going to watch the game,
I hope
but it's done. It's done. Um, with that being said, I also do have I've had a new World Series team since Game 1. Actually, honestly, since the first pitch of Game 1 of the NLDS, I knew who my World Series team should have been. And they're involved in the most entertaining, the most toxic playoff series that we might ever see for the next 20 years. That's the Padres and the Dodgers meeting up for the third time in 5 years. This is the rubber match, winner take all series, because they both split it at one at a piece, 2020 and 2022. Dodgers and the Padres this year. Whoever takes it is just better. They're the big brother. And I think the Padres are my World Series team. You want to talk about a team that has everything? They pitch, they hit, they fucking piss everyone off, and they have insane vibes, aura, whatever. Tatis mashes. He's hitting 700 right now. 700. That's 800 points better than Aaron Judge. So we just need to bring that up, okay? His OPS is 2,000. Like, that's insane. And they are part of, like I said, the best series ever. Dodgers and Padres they have traded blow for blow in Game 1. The Dodgers sneak it out. Ohtani with his first home run of the playoffs. Called it, by the way, while I was watching it. I told my dad, I was like, he's going to air one out 300 feet, whether it's fair or foul. He's airing one out. And I was like, no, he's not. And then he aired it. And I was like, what do you want? And then they won. So I was like, okay, cool. Whatever. It's just one game. And then the Padres, all hell broke loose in Game 2. The Padres, you start off home run Tatis, and then Profar robs bets and trolls the fans, except for one fan who's like, I see you. You got that ball. Who ended up being the fan who started all the shit, funny enough. By the way, troll job's fine. If anyone's upset by that troll job, grow a pair. Like, whatever. It's not that deep. It's not like he sat there and laughed at your entire franchise, although they did do that later on, like the rest of the world did. And then 2-run home run, and then Flaherty's jawing and throwing at Manny in the hip, and then Manny throws a ball at their dugout to give it to the ball boy, because, I don't know, it felt pretty normal. You can understand why the Dodgers are upset, but goddamn Dave Roberts is acting like a missile just shot by his head and it bounced in front of him. It took him 5 minutes to realize, and he's like, it was disrespectful and unprecedented, and honestly, I don't feel safe in my dugout anymore. And everyone's kind of like, hey, shut up. And then Flaherty continues to jaw after giving up 4 runs and being the reason the Dodgers lost the game. And then Manny was like, I'll meet you in the parking lot. And Jack was like, oh, can we do this here with witnesses? And then that was the end of that. And then Jerkson goes and gives a ball to the fan and says, here you go, I'm sorry for being a dick. And the fan throws the ball, which, fair enough. Balls on both sides, props on both sides. I thought it was a cool moment of like him going back and giving the ball to the fan, and the fan's like, oh, no handouts. Whew. And then another fan threw a ball, and then another fan threw a ball, and then another fan threw a beer can, and then another, and then another, and then another. And then it just broke loose. Tatis started dragging literally his schlong all over the outfield in front of the fans. Have you seen that video where he's just like riding his hips everywhere as fans are flipping him off? Greatest video. Yu Darvish almost sits on the spike cleaner while he waits for this delay to end, shuts him down, and then Merrill hits a home run, Tatis hits a home run, Bogarts hits a home run. It's 10-1. Then the Dodgers had another. It's 10-2. Tatis kisses the fans goodbye as they leave early, and the series is tied at 1.
Yes, I think what I said earlier, momentum wins games in October. This is the ultimate October momentum team. Right now, they have everything. The pitching has been solid. I mean, probably the lowest, but when you got fucking dogs like
Michael
Tatis
King,
and Manny Machado,
Yu Darvish,
but Michael King didn't do his thing today as good as he did in his last start. But they're still winning. But like I was saying, momentum is everything. And another thing I would like to point out, and a lot of people thought was sick, Manny Machado being in the middle of all the drama and slowing it down and be like, "Hey, boys, we're pissing him off. Keep pissing him off, but
Being a
like,
leader.
keep your cool. Keep your cool, man. Keep your cool."
Eh,
And they closed out that game like nothing even happened. They just tried to piss them off more by being the better team, which they are.
yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. They might have the best home um, stadium in the major leagues in the playoffs.
Message to the Dodger fans who threw shit: you're the scum of the earth, and you ruin everything in baseball. You ruin what's fun and what's nice, and you paint a bad picture onto a fan base that had been not seen as completely classless, and now you're at the level of the Yankees, and the Red Sox. So good job. They throw slurs around, so congratulations. And then
But
Dave Roberts is soft as shit. Max Muncy soft as shit. Like Padre players are not just living rent free in Dodger player heads; they're getting paid to live there at this point. Max Muncy was like, yeah, they play the role of the villain. They like to get under her skin. They bat flip 30 feet singles. Well, Max Muncy bat flips flyouts. So it's just,
yeah,
just the Padres. They had their thing at the end of game 2. They're like, yeah, whatever. Didn't mention a thing about the Dodger fans, Dodger players. Took the classy route out of it. And the Dodgers are just wah, 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 wah. It's like, dude, just shut up already. And they won't.
I mean, I think the Padres obviously came in with a game plan, and it's safe to say it's working.
Yeah.
So they're not doing anything wrong. Tatis has proven that he is still a top 5 player in the league. He is insane. When it matters most, he is not Aaron Judge. He actually knows how to be better in the moment. So they're definitely going to test them in Los Angeles.
Yeah. The Padres also start every game out amazingly. Like, in the first 2 innings of each game, they have scored a combined total of 12 runs. Like, that's insane. That's an average of 4 runs in the first 2 innings per game. Like, that's hard to, like, come back from as a team in the playoffs. Like, when you find yourself in an early hole and you're like, oh, shit. And it's game after game. It's not like just one game, but it's like, shit, here we go again. Not another one. Oh, my God. And then it just starts spiraling. And we saw that spiral today in game 3 where it's like, you get a guy on and then Freeman bounces a ball off of Manny's back into the outfield and runners on first and third. And then Miguel Vargas tries to turn a double play himself, but he's got a pulled groin and he's 35. And Jackson Merrill has a good groin and he's 21. So he beats him to the bag. And there's no double play. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, shit, here we go. And now it's 6-1. And then now it was 6-5 last time I saw. I think that's still the same. But it's like it spirals super quickly out of control if you constantly find yourself down 3 runs early in the game.
And you mentioned it at the start of the playoffs. Dodgers pitching does really bad in the postseason, and so far looks the same to me. There's something about it. I don't know. It just gets them, and obviously they're not completely healthy in that aspect. But I don't know. 6-5. I will say, good for Teo hitting that grand slam because without that, they're not in this ball game right now.
Yeah.
Especially not at home.
Oh, God,
momentum in against the Padres is a big thing, and because of that home run, not only is it a close game, it really stopped the Padres from like scraping them off the wall and going back into game. What would it be? Game 4 next?
Yeah, game 4 is next. This is same with the Mets and Phillies. If the Padres win this one tonight, this series doesn't go back to LA. There's no way. It doesn't. It's over. So there's that. I think it's just because in the National League side, each team is so much more even strength in a short series that if you give one team a slight edge of confidence, momentum, ego, whatever it is, if you boost them in some sort of way, it's just they take it and run and it's over. We saw it with the Mets. the Mets felt that like, oh shit, like we can hang with the Phillies all of a sudden. And they have taken that, and they just, once you take, you want to keep taking, and they're just going to take until a team ends it, and that's not going to be the Phillies. And that's the same with the Padres. And if the Padres run into the Mets, I like Grimace in a dream, but it's hard to beat Tatis. It's hard to beat real players when you got Grimace in a dream. Not saying the Mets aren't a real team, obviously.
I think for both series, even though you're calling it quits, I think it really depends on the big players. Like, how is Shohei going to perform with his back against the wall? How is Betts? How is, Freeman, if he's even playing? I think it comes down to them and them only, because they are the only way they get out of a jam like that is if they could play, go 6 for 6 with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs.
I will say if LA wins this series, it is not because of the Padres. It's just because those 3 guys came back to play.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah.
And it's the same thing with
Bryson,
with Harper.
Nick. Yeah, I just that
with
one,
Harper. If Harper gets going,
they just feel, like you get a vibe of a series, and when it doesn't go the way you thought it was gonna go, you get that vibe really quickly of like, oh, like
Baltimore,
yeah, like where it's like things are going out of control really quickly. And the Phillies seem to rely on late offense for some stupid reason. And they just can't keep doing that. And if the Mets keep scoring early like they have been, it's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of recipe for disaster on both sides.
Yeah, I agree. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited. This series that I'm currently watching as we speak is shaping out to be one of the best NLCSs of all time.
Yeah. Shall we? I don't really have anything else to add. It's just the playoffs are a super magical time, and this is when legends are created. Higgy, can't you see? Your swing is just so hypnotizing. Higgy's sick. I love Higgy. That's all. Playoffs are just a super magical time. Tatis got me feeling a certain type of way. Like I might have to buy a jersey. And like I also Harper's got me feeling like I should probably get a jersey there. And it's like there's these players are making me get jerseys that I don't have money to pay for them yet. So we'll see.
I know.
We'll see.
Oh yeah, no.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
I'm excited to see how bad my bracket gets.
Yeah, it's gonna get real rough. With that being said, we're now halfway through the LDSs. World Series pick.
San Diego.
Yeah, that's where I think I'm moving to as well. I want to stick with Philly and be like, I wrote it all the way. But San Diego's just got that vibes of an unfucking beatable train right now. They're the train in GTA 5.
I'll stick with the Phillies just so we can have a clip. I got the Phillies coming back. They'll win in 5, and then they'll...
just because you want the clip.
They'll sweep the next series.
Oh, dude, if they... Yeah. I just think Padres, they got the vibes. It's like Peter Seidler, like memorial season, like, win it for him. Everything kind of seems to be going their way. The bounces are falling in place. It's a game of inches, and the inches are going their way. And it's just like, it's just a lot of things feel like they're lining up. So, yeah. With that being said, the Mets have a better shot at winning the World Series than the Yankees do. So, yeah. That's how I want to end this. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening and doing all that fun stuff. Be sure to subscribe. You guys are brand new. Drop your playoff winner down below. And we'll catch you all in next week's episode, which should be about halfway through the LCS. I hope. Maybe not.
I hope.
We'll see. Peace.